Hello and welcome to Cuesta Sports Monthly, an in-depth look at Cuesta athletics. I'm Peter Schuler, and on this month's show we'll be joined by Cuesta softball coach Henry Valaau and our sophomore third baseman Keana Arnold. We'll also be meeting with baseball coach Bob Miller and pitcher Brendan Jenkins. And just before we go, we'll steal a few moments with Cuesta Athletic Director Bob Mariucci. First up on Cuesta Sports Monthly is softball. I'd like to welcome Keana Arnold and Henry Valaau to Cuesta Sports Monthly. How are you guys doing? Thank you very much for joining us. Season's off to a pretty good start. It's 7-4. Henry, as the coach here, would kind of like to get your assessment on how the season's looking and what you expect out of this program.
So far, we're looking pretty good right now. We have still got some work to do to solidify some of our defense and stuff like that, but we're looking pretty good.
Now, as a sophomore coming back, last year going to the playoffs, what are you bringing with that experience, and how are you helping with the youngsters out there? You're one of 3 sophomores on the team, so.
Yeah, I hope to bring some leadership, actually, because we've got a lot of young girls. So they don't really know what it's like to go up and play like the number 1 seeded team, which was pretty rough, but I hope we can do better this year. It'll be good. Now,
you guys, it's 7-4. You're feeling pretty confident so far. You guys have been moving around, kind of still feeling out pieces a little bit.
Yeah, no, it'll be really good. We've got a lot of good pitching staff. The girls are really good. We're only moving around because we've got so many girls that are worth playing in those positions.
Now, Henry, we did have kind of a transition again. This is your 10th season here as the assistant coach.
Yes.
We've been through 5 head coaches now, and you've been kind of the guy who's kept the program together, kept it in a pace, and back-to-back winning playoff teams. Kind of what is your role, have you felt, the last decade keeping this program together, and what you've done?
Well, first of all, it's been a privilege to be out here at Cuesta, to be asked to come on board and join the coaching staff. And for the last 10 seasons, like you said, I've been through a bunch of coaching, different head coaches, and my job was to try and maintain some kind of a performance level where we can play when the head coach comes on board. But other than that, it's just trying to keep the girls enthused about being a softball player and keeping the program going.
Now, you have been a lot of times in the fall while we're in the transition of hiring or recruiting new coaches. You've been kind of the guy who's kind of kept the team together. When the new coach comes in, I mean, you've had 5 new coaches. Have you had to change your philosophy? I mean, you're known as kind of one of the more positive coaches out there, and it's been one of those things where it's really kept the girls and the team together. Have you changed your philosophy, or you have to work with somebody, or you just adapt to whoever comes in?
Each coach that comes in has their own philosophy, so my job is to maintain, to adapt, and try and follow what they want done. But first and foremost, I try to keep the girls enthused all the time. My philosophy has always stayed the same. It's about the girls. And that with each head coach that comes in, I have to conform to what they want. There are things that I want to try and implement, but when it comes down to it, they're the one that leads the team. So my job is to make sure that the girls buy into the product and try to work hard to get better.
And how's that working so far? I mean, you've transitioned. This is your second head coach here, coming off a playoff season with a new coach, who's our old coach, Coach Merzon, back after a decade off. So how's that transition?
Super exciting. We're ecstatic to have her out there. She pulled a little prank on us saying, "Hey, you want to know who our new coach is? Like, I'll go get him." Walks out the room, walks back in. "What's up, guys?" Okay, Mers. And we're all super excited to have her. And no, Henry's definitely been there through all of it. He was the one that was there off days working with us and making us better. So I don't think we'd really know what to do without him.
Yeah. Well, as a sophomore, you guys kind of went through the last year. We had a new coach last year. Mm-hmm. What was your role? You talked about the leadership as a sophomore. What was some of the things that you and the other 2 sophomores, Amy Hood and Cheyenne Huffstetler, did to kind of keep this team together with these big question marks? You had Henry, you had the 3 of you. What were the things that kind of said, this is Cuesta softball and this is how we're going to do it and we're going to be okay? What kind of?
Well, it was rough. We still kept the girls all together. We made sure everyone communicated. Everyone knew what we were doing, when practice was, what we were wearing. Like, tried to have bonding days. Yeah, well, we're girls. You got to get there an hour early to get ready, kind of thing. No, we just had bonding moments. We got together as a team
So as
off the
sophomores, you
field
kind of did this. You kind of brought everybody in that way
Yeah,
and
we
did
had to make
things.
sure everyone was still kind of in it to win it for us. But we lost a lot of people, so it was really hard to keep everyone still focused. It was a little rough.
And that was kind of one of the things you saw there, were kind of because you weren't actually thinking about staying on this season. You were moving on, were you not?
There was a possibility at that time that I was in the process of trying to get a head coaching job at a local high school, and I wasn't quite sure what was going to happen. So there was a question whether I was going to stay through the fall or through the season. But I came down here expecting that the girls to work hard, and and my job was to make sure that they do that. Actually, right now I am the new head coach at a local high school, and
Congratulations.
but I asked Coach Marzan as to whether she will continue to have me help out because my practice is a little later and Cuesta's practice are earlier. So, and she agreed that she'd be glad to have me.
Well, we'll go a little bit deeper with you here, but you have your roots at Cuesta College go way back. We'll talk a little bit earlier about you're playing football here and you're being an athlete here. We've been undefeated since 1979.
Yes.
But I just want to see what kind of your experience about the old campus and all those things that changed because you're in that transition time at Cuesta College from the old to the new to football and moving on.
As you know, I'm a very young guy.
Yes.
I got to Cuesta in September of 1972 and played football here, and it was a great experience. And to see that program disappear was very disheartening for me. It's because there were some local kids that could use a program like that around here. But I also understand that it takes a lot of money to hold a program like that. But my experience here at Cuesta, it's really has been really great because all of a sudden here I am back in Cuesta in a different capacity as an assistant coach for softball, which I've never thought I'd be a softball coach. I didn't.
You don't get to hit anybody in softball.
No, you don't. But it's been good. It's been really good.
Now Henry came over from the islands to come here. You came over from Taft. So what was your experience coming over here? What brought you to Cuesta College? Was it volleyball or was it?
Well, actually, I went to University of Colorado first.
That's true.
So, tuition's expensive out of state. I was missing sports so much. I played recreational volleyball there, and I was like, oh goodness, I miss it so much. Then I got a hold of Rocky, and I came back to play volleyball.
Okay.
It was a good decision.
And then an injury diverted you into softball.
Injury took me out for a little bit, but Mariucci and everyone were pretty adamant about getting me back out somewhere.
Well, we're glad both of you, Henry, you've stayed on for the last decade, kind of saved the program several times, and great that you guys are looking forward to a great sophomore year, and I'm really looking forward to watching you guys out there. So good luck the rest of the way, Keana.
Thank you.
That does it for softball here on Cuesta Sports Monthly. We'd like to thank Coach Henry Valaau and sophomore Keana Arnold for joining us. Coming up next on Cuesta Sports Monthly, we'll have baseball, Coach Bob Miller, and pitcher Brendan Jenkins.
Cuesta.edu. Television, radio, broadcast, communication. Explore the world of digital communication and tap into your creative genius. Television, radio, broadcast, communication.
This is your boy, the DUI, and you're listening to KGUR.org.
Your digital future is at Cuesta College right now. Log on to Cuesta.edu now for enrollment dates and class information.
Don't put the boom in the shot. Blowing it, bro.
Cuesta.edu.
We're back on campus with Cuesta Sports Monthly. I'm Peter Schuler, and we are joined by baseball coach Bob Miller and pitcher Brendan Jenkins. I'd like to welcome Bob and Brendan to Cuesta Sports Monthly. Season's off to a pretty solid start. Very tough start of the season. Everybody's ranked 10 very tough games, 6-4 at this point. You guys have actually moved up the rankings now in the top 10. How are you seeing this season's progression so far, Coach?
It's been a good start for us. We've played well at times and really been led by a pitching staff, a sophomore-led pitching staff, which is good. We have the most depth that we've had there in a few years, and need a little bit more consistency with the defense and the hitting. But our pitching has really been the backbone of our team, and I like the way that we've competed day in and day out in the first 10.
Yeah, you have a lot of people coming back from 2 years ago. You had some red shirts last year and still had a great season last year, so you really kind of built on that this year coming in. Do you think that kind of gave you a jump to start the season with all the veterans back?
The experience certainly has helped, and then you're talking about an older, more mature, athlete. So yeah, I like the experience that this club has brought to the table.
Now, Brendan, you're back for your second year at a pretty good start to your career with your freshman season. Set a school record with 37 consecutive scoreless innings. How do you build on that? Do you consider that, or is that just turn the page and new season?
You kind of turn the page and keep working, keep your eye on the prize, and just kind of get down to business and one pitch at a time, one game at a time,
Now, has your focus changed a little bit now? Last year you came in as a pitcher, possible outfielder, a little bit hitting. I don't expect you to be hitting. I don't know if coaches got different plans for you, but you're kind of really just focused on the pitching now.
Yeah, it makes it easy to just focus on pitching because it's one thing to focus about. You're not trying to hit BP and then pitch a game. So it's all 100% pitching, and it makes it a little easier on you. So it's good.
Now with the staff, you have Louis Raymond from bounced back from University of San Francisco. You've signed with the University of San Francisco in the fall. Are you learning things from him, from what he's coming down from D1? Are you learning things about the program you're going to?
Yes, I have, and I also learned things from James Canterberg, who played here last year. Who's at San Francisco. He loves it. But yeah, I'm learning little nuances, and that just you gotta get better each and every day up next year, and have a good time.
Now, Coach, one of the things I've noticed the last couple of years, and it's just kind of statewide in baseball, but maybe the change of the bats may have been other rules, but it seems to be it's more pitching oriented than it had been maybe your first few years here at Cuesta College. But now it really is based on the pitching. How is that something you've noticed too, and has that changed your philosophy and kind of coaching and what you need to get to be successful?
Well, when you don't have scholarships to recruit with, you can take what you're given. And, pitching is the name of the game. And it does look like the runs have been down a little bit. College baseball made a move last year to try to equalize things with the offense by changing the baseball. So this is the first year for us with the new lower seam type baseball. And in the early going, though, we've been facing some dynamite pitching as well as we have a pretty good pitching staff. So the runs have still been low and all that. So I guess we'll have a better idea once the season is, once we've run the course of the season and compare one year to another.
Now, what you're just coming into right now, you just finished your pre-conference, you're coming into conference. Start with local rival Allen Hancock, which is always kind of a fun game, but just because of the local rivalry. But the Western State Conference itself, Oxnard's been up the last few years, Santa Barbara's been up for the last few years. What do you see going into conference and kind of?
Well, it's a good conference, like you said, and there's a lot of parity within the conference, difficult places to play. Throughout our conference, and we're just going to worry about Cuesta and go out and compete. And the one thing about junior college is you don't know a lot about the opponent until you play them, until you see them one time through the conference. But we know that team's going to come to play, and it's a very competitive conference.
Now, you're coming back in through the conference, and now these teams have seen you for a year. You had a lot of your success during the conference. Is there something that you feel you've developed this year that has made you a bit better, different pitcher from last year, or you're just going to bring what you got and you're going to go with it?
I'm just going to give my all I can every time. Do what I did last year, just kind of live low, live at the knees, and get strike one. Now,
you've signed with the University of San Francisco with the West Coast Conference. This conference is one College World Series. You have big-time Major League players coming out of the West Coast Conference. Why did you decide on University of San Francisco? You talked about Canterberg and you talked about Louis Raymond. Is that kind of a Bay Area thing? Is that San Francisco's kind of your spot, or is that?
It just felt like the right fit. I mean, I've always been a big education guy growing up, and it's got good education, good program, and it's got a good baseball. So it's got everything I want, and it's close. It's an hour away from my house, so it's got everything I wanted in a college. So.
All right. Now, one of the things that we were talking about a little bit, having the sophomores this year, is there a lot of leadership that's changing around the program? I mean, you could talk about this too, Brendan. I mean, are they bringing in the new kids and kind of developing them with you, or is that something?
No doubt about it. When you have guys that have been around playing at the higher level of competition, the sophomores, haven't seen it as a freshman year. They've been around the coach and they know expectations and whatnot. It's when coaches provide leadership, you have a chance for some success. But when you have players leading other players, you have a chance for really some dynamic things to happen. And so our older guys have been outstanding at leading younger players along in all phases of things that we do at the baseball program. So yeah, that's been a real plus.
Now, one of the things, just the success of the program, with you coming in, kind of coming off a state series season, you've come in, you've carried that on the whole way. We were just looking at this, just an interesting thing. Cuesta College has been in the playoffs, missed the playoffs 3 times since 1990. They've won 16 of the program's 17 conference titles since 1990. Before that, the program had been a little bit further down. You had the success coming in. What are some of the things that you've done as a coach philosophy to maintain that? And you've had tremendous success. And what are some of those things that you said, all right, this is how I'm going to build my program, and this is what I'm going to put my stamp on it this way?
That's a good question.
I should note that you're now number 20 all time in community college for wins with 37.
Well,
37 wins. So I just checked that just before. So I'd let you know.
All right.
You're in the top 20.
Okay. What we've done is it's just been a work ethic thing. Just trying to beat the bushes to recruit the best talent that we can. Then once we get the players in here, it's to find out what our strengths and weaknesses are and work to develop the weaknesses so we develop as complete a player as we can, and try to help them move on down the road. I mean, it's just been that simple. And we don't build for the future. We try to make the most out of each and every year. There's been some programs that might bring in a load of freshmen for a year and then hoping they're going to be really good as a sophomore type of base. But we've looked at it on a one-year basis and try to be as good as we can be this year and then worry about next year on the next year.
One pitch at a time, one at bat at a time, one season at a time, kind of that same philosophy. Now, you came down here. What were the things that brought you down here from Pleasanton to Cuesta College? Was it that philosophy? Was it, what was the thing that brought you down here? And what do you think you're going to take back up to the Bay Area?
What brought me down here? I mean, it's a great area. I got family in this area, and I just knew this is a great program. And what I'm going to take back is just the work ethic that we instilled, that he has instilled in us, and what I've kind of got or received here. Take it back up to the Bay Area and just work like as hard as I can for as long as I can.
All right. One last thing, Coach, just coming into the season, where you guys see yourself at the end of the year, just kind of projecting yourself down the line. I don't want you to jinx yourself, but just...
The goal is to always finish first. That's the goal. And we'll do everything in our power to get there.
All right. Well, Brendan Jenkins, thank you very much for joining us here at Cuesta Sports Monthly. Coach Bob Miller, again, a pleasure to have you on here. That does it for Cuesta Sports Monthly baseball section right now. I'd like to thank Coach Bob Miller and pitcher Brendan Jenkins for joining us. When we come back, we'll steal a few moments with Cuesta Athletic Director Bob Mariucci when we return.
Cuesta.edu. Television, radio, broadcast, communication. Explore the world of digital communication and tap into your creative genius. Television, radio, broadcast, communication.
This is your boy, the DUI, and you're listening to KGUR.org.
Your digital future is at Cuesta College right now. Log on to Cuesta.edu now for enrollment dates and class information.
Don't put the boom in the shot. Blowing it, bro.
Cuesta.edu.
Welcome back to Cuesta Sports Monthly. We're here with Cuesta Athletic Director Bob Mariucci. Bob, welcome back to Cuesta Sports Monthly. Kind of our annual athletic director's report here. So here we are, just starting the spring sports, getting a little bit deeper with swimming and track and field getting going. How are we looking this year?
Well, you know what, Pete, and thanks for having me. Again, it's a busy time of year right now with basketball finishing up and our basketball team making the playoffs and just spring sports kicking off. So it's an exciting time, when spring sports get going, your baseballs and softballs and swimming and track. So it's a busy time, but exciting time. And so it's just been busy around the athletic department and, a lot of things going on. So.
Yeah, there's overlapping, basketball overlapping with the other sports, and everything kicking off, basketball winding down. And in the fall, you have everything winding down, basketball kicking off. So you have those that wherever anything overlaps, basketball gets a little busy. Of course, basketball is extended now. The women's season ended on a win, but it was still a non-playoff season for them after 3 straight years of playoffs. Men's basketball picks up the number 11 seed. They'll be traveling to number 9 Fullerton this weekend, so that's pretty exciting. Another playoff season for Coach Rusty Blair and the Cougars. Yeah. So
very proud of both of those programs. I mean, Ron Barba with the women's program didn't have a lot of numbers, but they worked hard throughout the year and stayed positive and had a great win at the end of the season in overtime. And same for the men. The men again had a tremendous season up front, and but they're back at it. We've made the playoffs, a good seed, a good spot, and I think they're ready to roll. So. Like you said, Friday night down in Fullerton, so we'll see where we go. And
Cougars beat Fullerton first week of the season. It's been a long time since late November, but the first week of the season they did beat Fullerton, so they do have a knowledge of this team. There's a 10-point win for the Cougars, so in their home game. So they'll be different. They won't be at Cuesta College. They'll be down in Fullerton in the Hornets' nest, the Fullerton Hornets, and so it'll be a little bit different for them. But I think the team's been a little bit of a slide at the end. I think Coach Rusty Blair said that they thought they won the conference after the first round when they went undefeated, then kind of stumbled a bit on the way to their thing, but still just outside the top 10 in the rankings is pretty good. And the women's team has been, they ended as strong as they possibly could with a team that's basically was 50% of their numbers. I think they lost about half their team through attrition of some sort of injuries or whatnot that occurred during the season. So a good season for him. Baseball starting right now, 7-4, softball 6-4, and then track and swimming getting along. And your daughter back out in swimming.
Yeah. Daughter's on the swim team. Yeah, pool's back up, and I was going to say I'm excited about the sophomores on the men's team. A big number of sophomores this year. 9. On that, 9 sophomores. So they've come. This is what they came for, is to make a run in the playoffs. So I'm excited for them and their opportunity. So, but yeah, busy time of year, and it's a good time.
So now the pool's back up. Pool has been down since the week before Thanksgiving. So things happening out there. A little bit happier at home, making the carpool easier a little bit with Taylor out there.
It's been tough on the swim team. So Coach Marsh and Coach Furman, and they've been taking kids down to Rio Grande High School. We're grateful for them let us use their pool, but finally our pool's back up. It's been down, getting refurbished on the bottom a little bit here. So we're back at home, and now those kids can start getting a little bit more routine and workouts and focus on their season. So they got a decent number of kids, and so I'm excited for them just to be back at home and getting some good training in before their season gets going.
Now shift gears a little bit, but the bond passed a couple years ago, and two of the things that they've really sold the bond about is our area was one of the first areas built on this new campus. The gym and the pool. So the pool has got a patch job that's going to be set to be going down again in about 2-3 years' time, and then rebuilt, and then the gym. So where are you kind of looking at seeing those transitions in their department? What are some of the things that you're seeing out there, and your input and kind of on where they're going to go?
Yeah, so the bond had many areas of renovations and improvement, but the two in our area were the pool and the gymnasium
floor. Those are the ones most people read about, I think. Those two getting done.
And the pool being down right now is kind of a temporary thing, so it like you said, in another 2-3 years, they'll probably have to put it down for a good, almost a year just to refurbish everything on that pool deck. And then the gym floor is kind of in phase 2 of the bond issuances, and that'll be another 3 years or so. But the gym floor, like you said, Pete, it was probably one of the first buildings built. Yeah. And and people may not know what we're talking about, but the floor has been damaged due to leaks in the roof, and then it's built on somewhat cement, so there's no give.
It wasn't a sprung floor originally, so it doesn't have much give for those athletes out there.
Yeah. So that's something we're looking forward to in the future.
So they're looking forward to getting those two things done. Yeah. Yeah. Is there anything else in the area you're looking forward? I mean, I don't know if there's fields or something.
Out at the track.
I know Bob Miller's and Coach Brian Loker out of the track both want lights. They want to be able to practice 24/7.
Yeah, no, they're continually working on their facilities and the track. facility. We did do a new jumping area, like cemented area by the long jump pit areas. We're looking to get bleachers here one day, rather soon out there. And that's something really important, I think, to have bleachers out there to host whatever, soccer, track, Special Olympics, whatever we do out there. There's just no bleachers or seating right now. So we're working on that right now with some
most people
projects.
sit where they throw the javelin. That's not very safe.
Yeah. So we're getting there.
Now, one of the things you coordinate very well with our Cuesta College Athletic Booster Club. Does the Booster Club have any projects coming up, and what are some of the things that they might have on their agenda? I know we lost former president, a frequent guest, Jim Battersby, moved on, but we have Audrey Dodd now in charge, and how are things going with that transition? And
yeah, very good, very good. I always say this: it's one of the greatest group of people that you can work with. They're always there to help, whatever it might be. We've had a consistent income with the barbecues that we do at the end of every Monday. The Mark Tognazzini from Morro Bay at the dockside donates his time, and it's been kind of a streamline of income coming in. Their membership drive, we try to keep on going. I think we're due for another fundraiser, whether it's a raffle giveaway type of thing, but a big trip type of thing that we normally have done. But again, it's a good group, great group, and I enjoy working with them a lot.
So if people are interested in a chicken dinner, they should just call the office, or how do they get that?
Yeah, you can always just contact the athletic department, and we'll get you in the right direction, whether you're interested in being a booster or supporting our teams or whatever it might be.
Dinner.
Or just having barbecued ribs, yeah.
We do have a lot of sponsorships at Cuesta College. What are some of the ones that you've been most proud of, or some of the people you've been working with? I know a lot of our events have sponsorships. Basketball has Phillips, women's basketball, Phillips 66, Meathead for wrestling. Meathead Movers has done a tremendous job. Rabobank has been a great partner for 47 years, if you consider the men's basketball tournament. So what are the things that we're looking for?
Well, those are our major sponsors.
And how these people can help Cuesta College.
Again, I'm very proud of our athletic program, and if you're willing to help, you see the young men and women that come on this show, supporting them. We're always willing to work with you, like a sponsorship on maybe sponsoring an event or some kind of team. But we do have great sponsors year after year, and not only our major sponsors, we have a lot of other sponsors that give at a different level that are just as important, as far as helping us financially and so forth. We have a banner, the signage on our campus is important for annual income. So we continue to try to maintain those, and we're always looking for new partners and sponsorships, and it's been good. If people are interested, please contact us.
Now, one of the things we talked about a few weeks back with some of the coaches and the longevity and stuff like that, but I wanted to see if you could give me just a quick spiel on why athletics is so important, you think, to Cuesta College, and why people should support Cuesta College and come play for Cuesta College.
Yeah. Well, no, so you're a coach and you're around athletics your whole life. You see the significance of what it does. You see how athletics benefits young men and women to succeed in life, and whether it's athletics or classroom or work or whatever. And to be honest with you, those are the rewards that I see. When our kids go on to a 4-year with great grades and that type of thing, so that's what we live every day, and that makes us want to come to work every day to help those young men and women succeed academically. And so I wouldn't change it for the world. And you mentioned I had a daughter. Once you have a kid that goes through whether this system, you see the rewards firsthand, directly, and it's awesome. It's very rewarding.
Well, come support Cuesta College. Come compete at Cuesta College. I'd like to thank Athletic Director Bob Mariucci for joining us today on Cuesta Sports Monthly. Keep up to date with Cuesta College athletics. Visit the Cuesta Athletic website for more Cuesta Athletic information. We'd like to thank today's guests, Henry Valaau, Keana Arnold, Bob Miller, Brendan Jenkins, and Bob Mariucci. Catch this show and other shows produced by Cuesta College and at Cuesta College by the Cuesta Broadcast Communications on Charter Channel 2 all season long.